Cowboys Nation, brace yourselves because what we're about to break down is not just a tough pill to swallow. It's one of the most heartbreaking developments of this season so far. After a gut-wrenching loss to the Chicago Bears that has fans questioning everything from coaching decisions to depth chart reliability, the Dallas Cowboys have now been hit with an even bigger blow style, one that could change the trajectory of the entire 2025 NFL season. Star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, the electrifying heart and soul of this Dallas offense, has gone down with what early reports are calling a high ankle sprain, though some whispers around the league suggest it could be worse. The injury occurred in the first quarter on what looked like a routine catch and tackle, but Lamb's foot twisted awkwardly under the defender, and you could immediately tell by his body language that something wasn't right. He tried to limp off, showing that signature toughness that Cowboys fans love him for, but after a quick visit to the sideline tent and an evaluation from the training staff, it became clear he wasn't returning to the field. The stadium fell silent, and Cowboys fans at home felt that sinking feeling, not just because we were losing to a team like the Bears, but because the one guy who could spark a comeback was now standing on the sideline, helmet off, in clear pain. The game spiraled from there. Without Lamb stretching the field and commanding double coverage, the Bears' defense clamped down on the rest of the Cowboys' skill players. George Pickens, who had been gaining chemistry with Dak Prescott, suddenly found himself blanketed with attention. Tight ends struggled to create separation. The run game stalled, and Dak looked increasingly uncomfortable in the pocket as blitz packages came faster and more frequently. The offense couldn't find rhythm, and the Cowboys walked away from Soldier Field with a humbling 31-14 defeat. But the game was just the beginning. Now, all eyes are on the training room, because CeeDee Lamb's health isn't just a concern. It's an all-out crisis for a team that had playoff aspirations and was trying to build momentum after an inconsistent start to the year. Let's be real, there is no replacing Lamb. He's not just a WR1, he's a route technician, a deep threat, a reliable third down target, a red zone weapon, and most importantly, a spark plug that lifts the entire offensive unit. Take him out of the lineup for 1 week and you feel it. Take him out for a month or more, and you're potentially watching a season collapse. The early prognosis from team officials, likely in an effort to calm fan anxiety, is that it's a high ankle sprain, which typically carries a 3 to 6 week timeline depending on severity. But if you've followed football long enough, you know those injuries are tricky. Some players return in 3 weeks and look fine. Others take months, and when they do come back, they're never quite the same that season. They can't cut sharply, they don't have that explosion, and in Lamb's case, his entire game is built on sudden movements, footwork, change of direction, and elite timing with Dak. Even if he returns in the minimum amount of time, the concern is how long it will take for him to actually feel like himself again, and whether the Cowboys can survive without his production in the meantime. But here's where it gets even more worrisome. Sources inside the league, though not confirmed by the Cowboys yet, suggest that the team is strongly considering placing Lamb on short-term injured reserve. If they do that, it means he'll be out at least 4 games, no questions asked. That stretches across a critical stretch of the schedule, including divisional matchups and key games that could determine wildcard tiebreakers. Without Lamb, defenses are going to challenge the Cowboys to beat them with their second and third options. And while George Pickens has shown flashes, he's still developing chemistry in this system. Tight end Jake Ferguson is a nice piece, but isn't someone who's going to command bracket coverage. The running back group hasn't exactly lit up the scoreboard this year either. All of this puts incredible pressure on Dak Prescott, who is now facing the daunting task of leading a depleted offense while questions about his own performance continued to swirl. And let's not forget, the offensive line is banged up as well. Rookies and backups are being shuffled in, protection is inconsistent, and if teams know Lamb's out, they'll stack the box, blitz more, and dare Dak to beat them with mid-tier weapons. The domino effect of Lamb's absence can't be overstated. It's not just that he's the best receiver on the roster, it's that his presence dictates coverage, forces safeties to play deeper, opens up underneath routes, and provides Dak with a reliable lifeline on broken plays. You take that away, and you suddenly have an offense that looks flat, slow, and predictable. And while we all hope that this is a temporary situation, the fear is that the injury is worse than being publicly disclosed. We've seen this movie before, where the team initially downplays the severity to keep morale high or avoid giving competitive advantage to future opponents, only to later reveal that the player is out for much longer. And that has fans freaking out online, like social media exploded the moment Lamb went down. Some fans were in tears, literally posting emotional reactions. Others were calling for immediate trades, claiming the season is over unless the Cowboys act fast. We can't keep losing stars like this and expect to be competitive, one tweet read. Another fan posted a clip of Lamb's injury and wrote, "You can feel the season slipping away right there." And to be honest, it's hard to disagree. This Cowboys team was already walking a tightrope, trying to patch holes along the offensive line, leaning heavily on their defense and needing every ounce of playmaking on offense just to stay competitive in games. Losing Lamb throws off the balance entirely. Rumors are now swirling that Jerry Jones and the front office are exploring trade options. There's been chatter about bringing in a veteran receiver, maybe someone who's fallen out of favor on their current team, or a young player with upside who hasn't had the opportunity to shine yet. But here's the problem. At this point in the season, teams aren't exactly eager to give away starting caliber receivers, and even if the Cowboys do pull the trigger, there's a ramp-up period. Learning the playbook, getting in sync with Dak, building chemistry, that takes time. Time the Cowboys simply don't have if they're trying to salvage the season before it slips out of reach. And while some fans are hoping that this will be the moment where someone else on the roster steps up and becomes a star, maybe Pickens has a breakout. Maybe Ferguson becomes Dak's new favorite target. The reality is that CeeDee Lamb is irreplaceable. His route running, hands, yards after catch, and even his leadership on and off the field are qualities that don't just grow on trees. You lose a guy like that, and you're not just losing yards and touchdowns, you're losing the confidence and swagger of the whole offense. Meanwhile, the defense, which has been elite in some games this year, now has even more pressure on its shoulders. They're going to be asked to win games outright, limit scoring, force turnovers, and give the offense as many short fields as possible. And that's a lot to ask of a unit that's already been leaned on heavily, especially when you consider that they've had their own injury concerns and depth issues. The fear is that without offensive support, the defense will wear down over time, and by the time Lamb is ready to return, if he even can, the team might be sitting at .500 or worse, staring up at multiple playoff contenders in the standings. Emotionally, this is a gut punch to the locker room. Lamb is beloved by teammates. He's a vocal leader, a competitor, someone who sets the tone in practice and on game day. Players rally around him. Coaches scheme around him. Fans idolize him. To lose him, even temporarily, is demoralizing. And if the injury turns out to be long-term, it could cause real psychological damage to a team that's been trying to believe they're Super Bowl contenders. Right now, everyone in the organization, or just from Jerry Jones down to the practice squad, has to regroup, recalibrate, and figure out how to survive this storm. Because if they don't, this could be the defining moment that derails the 2025 Dallas Cowboys' entire season. The next few weeks will be critical. They have to find ways to win games without their star. They have to hope Dak steps up and shows leadership. They need players to exceed expectations. And most importantly, they need CeeDee Lamb to recover quickly, fully, and return to being the superstar we all know and love. But as of today, Cowboys Nation is holding its breath. Because when your star goes down and your team is already walking a fine line, the margin for error disappears. This is the moment when the Cowboys will either show they're built to withstand adversity, or will look back and say, this was the injury that broke their season. Stay tuned, because this story is